Hey guys, it's Clovis, and you guys have been asking on a tutorial on how to install Redux mod over and over again. So here it is. So look on the screen or check the pinned comment or check the description for timestamps, because I'm going to be showing you the main tutorial and then also a way to play it on hardware on the real PS2. I know, right? It's crazy. But obviously there's stuff to go through, and also that's my scapegoat Yu-Gi-Oh reference of how to explain things to you guys before we actually start the tutorial, because there's been reasons why I haven't done a video tutorial yet, and the main one is because all I'm going to be doing for this video tutorial is following the README. Please read the README. I cannot stress this enough. I've had so many people message me on Discord asking me questions that are answered. If they literally just read the README, they would not have to have asked me anything. I really wanted to just say that it's been very, very difficult for me to do this tutorial, which is why it's taken so long. I tried troubleshooting screen recording in OBS. I can do everything on my laptop except record the screen. Some sort of issue with display capture. I think the display itself just won't show up. I swear I spent a whole night troubleshooting this shit and nothing came of it. So at this point, what I've actually done... Alright, so my setup for doing this tutorial just for you guys, because I love you guys. Here is my desktop, obviously. And so down here, you can see I've literally used all of my USB ports. I used the last USB port, which is up there. There's two up there. The last ones I used were the webcam and also the capture card, right? I've literally had to move my desktop as well against the ground, which, I mean, it's not that much effort. I'm showing you. Like, this cables literally would not have been able to reach far enough without having moved my computer like this. So up here, you can see, again on the screen, I have OBS. Down here you can see Game Capture HD. That's right here. So this is plugged in via USB into the desktop, and then this is the HDMI cable, which is plugged into the output, the HDMI output on my laptop. And you can also see I've got the microphone here, and I've got the, see, you can see over there, the webcam, so you guys can see my face during the tutorial, and you can hear what I'm saying when I go through. I'm literally going to click record on OBS, and then, yeah, look. Hey, it's me. I'm going to record on OBS to do this tutorial for you guys, which basically you can see here. Well, it's not really 100% fresh install, but basically simulating a fresh install. And then obviously it has a disk tray as well, so we can actually rip an ISO of our game for anyone who has the NTSC version. It would focus if I tap the screen, but I'm holding it with one phone. I have tried to do this with a phone before and it was just not good enough. So yeah, and then of course, as I mentioned down there, the Elgato, which this is what I used to use to record my gameplay footage on my PS2. And now, well, look what I'm using it for. So, yeah, I know everyone would have clicked the timestamps already, but I really just wanted to communicate that this is the effort that I've gone through, or that I've had to go through to do this tutorial, which is why it's taken like over a month to do. It's just been a real pain in the ass. I wish I could just record my screen on OBS. I know some people are just going to be saying, do this, do that. I tried everything. I am like 99% sure that it's just a hardware issue, because this is a 7-year-old laptop. I swear on my life I tried. I couldn't have tried to make this any easier than this, but eventually I just gave up, cut my losses, and then I even had to troubleshoot the game capture card. I swear, this is costs so much goddamn effort. So if this doesn't help you, I don't know what to say. I know I'm going to sound really rude here, but I've had a lot of people messaging me asking how to install it. People who literally haven't read the README. people who are not giving me any information, and it's like, you know, I'm not tech support. I have my own life and my own things that I need to do. I have, you know, I'm partially responsible for taking care of the house and people in the family, so I can't be there on Discord 24/7 to answer people's questions when they're not booting up the same ISO that they patched, or they're trying to patch a PAL ISO when it specifies NTSC. But yeah, look, I'm just going to ramble at this point, so let's just get onto the tutorial, shall we? Okay, so we're here, right? We're here. Let's install DotR Rose's Redux from scratch, I guess. So, assuming you were, let's see, on the DotR Rose's Redux mod video. So you can see straight away, disclaimer, so it's important, read this, right? All of the information related to the DotR Redux mod is in the description, click show more. We can just go straight to the description, click show more, and then read, and then you can see, okay, the Redux mod is a patch to be applied to an NTSC-U ISO of DotR Roses. That means it won't work with PAL, it won't work with the Japanese version. So if you have PAL or the Japanese version, you need a United States ISO of the game. If you don't have that, you'll have to get it somehow. If you have the US version, the NTSC, you can see, let's see if I can get a close-up for you. This top right, it's not focusing. It is? Okay, cool. You see that? If that says PAL, then it won't work, okay? You should really know if you're in PAL, but not everyone does. Basically, if you're not in North America, you're PAL. But if you have this, you can just rip this copy of the game. Otherwise, you'll need to get it online somehow, which we'll talk about later. So, download link, archive. This is literally the link to download it, right? So click here. This will give you the patch and everything you need to know. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where to download it, you go to download options. So click the zip, you click the most recent version, which is not obsolete, which is 1.03. And we're going to download that. Which I have, cool. So, now that we got that, we can open it. And we can extract it. Okay, so you open up the zip, you'll see just .r Redux 1.03. You want to extract this. You can extract it any way you want. I'm just going to do everything on the desktop to make everything really simple. So now we've got that extracted, you will see a bunch of stuff. Oh, there's a file called readme. Maybe we should read that file. Let's do that. And what do you know? It's the entire instructions on how to install the emulator and everything. Please read this. I know some people don't want to read the whole thing, but you're probably going to ask questions that are answered in the readme, so please read it. I cannot stress this enough. We did not write this for no reason. I know it's long, but this will answer all the questions that need to without you having to ask. With that being said, this is an instruction tutorial video, so we are going to go through these readme instructions because that's literally what the readme tells you to do. It's literally an instruction how to do it, so I'm going to go through the readme. So, in order to play the ROM hack, you will need an ISO backup of the North American release of the game saved onto your computer, and an emulator. So I guess there's three main steps. One is having a North American ISO file on your computer. Two is having an emulator installed on your computer. Three is patching that ISO with obviously the patch and patcher that comes in this in the zip file we just downloaded. So, ripping your disk. We are going to do this, okay? I'm going to do this. If you have located a North American ISO, you can skip this part, so go to the next timestamp. But for those who don't, I'm going to run through how to do it. It's pretty much just as this said. If you really want to, you can follow this instruction, but I'm obviously going to go through it now. So, we're going to use DVD Decryptor because it's free and it's lightweight. This thing is super easy to use. And we provide a direct download of it, which you just click this, right? And it downloads like that. It's not even a megabyte in size, apparently, so open that. And you just follow the install normally. Of course, these are optional, but the main software will download. You don't have to bother to check if a new version is available each time it loads. I would actually recommend saying no. So just say no, and run DVD decryptor. Just run it. It'll be a lot easier that way. By default, it should detect your disk drive and select it as a source. So you can see on the screen here, this is my disk drive. It should be just your disk drive. If you only have one disk drive, it will automatically detect it. Okay, so mode on the top menu, navigate to ISO and click read. So you click mode, ISO, read. Now we can put our disk in the tray, cool. So let's do that. So we are going to get a North American copy of the game. Our own legal. This is legal, 100% legal. Well, I think so. As long as I don't redistribute this. So it's just our game DVD, again, the NTSC version, not the PAL. And then we're going to put it into the disk tray, if we can hit the button correctly. Go. I shouldn't really need to show you this, but what I do, I always spin it, make sure it spins correctly before putting it in. You'll see the information actually pops up on the screen. There we go, look at that. You can see the size and everything. It should say 2,112,782,336 bytes. Pay attention to the destination field. So that's here, right? What we can do is we can change this to any location. I am just going to do my desktop. You can pick whatever one you want. I'm just doing it desktop so that everything's on a desktop to make it really, really easy to see. And then all we need to do is click, once we pick the destination, all we need to do is click decrypt. And so what this is doing is it's going to make an ISO out of any DVD that you put in to your disk tray. Yeah. So operation successfully completed. Cool. Cool. So our game is written. Now we have DVD image. That is literally an ISO of this game. What I'm going to do now is actually take our game out, just put it away. Now on the desktop, we have DVD image, which is, as I said, it's literally right click it, properties, you will see ISO disk image file, ISO. And you'll also see the size of it, 1.96 gigabytes. And you will also see the actual byte size, the 2,112,782,336. We're up to patching our ISO. So whatever way we obtained a North American ISO file, we need to patch it. So first of all, make a copy of your game. You can simply do that by right-clicking, copy. Again, wherever you made the ISO, you just go there and then do that. Right-click, paste. This will take, well, not very long if you have an SSD like I do. Otherwise, it would probably take longer. And then you can name this whatever you want. Name it something you remember. So I'm literally just going to name it Duels of the Roses Redux. Obviously that doesn't turn it into Redux, but we know that's the one we're going to patch. So now we go back to patching our ISO. Again, verify the size of it. It needs to be 1.95 gigabyte and it needs to be 2,112,782,336 bytes. Otherwise it won't work. But if you actually got an ISO of the North American copy or you extracted this, it'll be exactly that size. So you shouldn't have to worry about that. Alright, so we've copied the thing and now we just need to patch it. So, following the README, again, we just need to open wherever you extracted your Redux. So, well, actually it's on the desktop here. Locate the patcher, so the ppf-o-matic folder, and then ppf-o-matic 3, the application. Open that up, and this is your patcher. So for the ISO file, you want to load whatever the ISO is that you want to patch. So because we copied Duels of the Roses ISO to DotR Redux, so just double checking to make sure it didn't cut out again. We're going to patch this ISO. So open that up. That's the ISO file you're opening, and then the patch you want to open, that is located in the DotR Redux download file from the video description. So you go into there, and then actually it's just here in the root of that folder. So you click patch.ppf if you want the patch without changing the artwork back to the, if you want to keep the artwork of the censored version, then you can use patch no art.ppf, but this is the intended way, patch.ppf. This will give you the uncensored artwork, so you get the pentagrams and hexagram, and of course, the boobies. So you do that, and then you just simply click apply. So just quickly make sure that the ISO file is the one that you want to, the ISO that you want to patch, and the bottom one is either patch from, either of them will install Redux, but patch.ppf is the one with the uncensored Japanese artwork, and then simply click apply. Cool, so you get patch successfully applied, burn image to CD now. You don't need to actually worry about that, and then you can cross it off PPF formatting. What this means is, now you have, not only do you have an ISO of the game, but you also have an ISO of Duels of the Roses Redux mod. This, the ISO you just patched, make sure you know what one that is. This is literally Duels of the Roses Redux mod. It is, PS2 and emulator will think it's the same game, but when you play it, you'll notice all the differences, such as the different duelists and all that sort of stuff. So, we've done that. We now have a copy, an actual copy or an actual file of Duels of the Roses Redux mod on our computer. So now you can emulate it, which is the intended way. You can also play it on your PS2 if you do some other cool stuff, which we'll go into a bit later on. But the important thing is here to obviously install the emulator. So, emulator setup. The only tested emulator and only one we can recommend is PCSX2. We provided a link for it. Click here to visit PCSX2 website and download the emulator. So let's do that. So, download, this is where you download it. So download get PCSX2 here. You go to Windows, stable releases if you're running Windows, otherwise do another one. But we've only tested Windows emulator on this. 1.6.0 is the most recent one. This is an ad. Do not click this. You want to go down where the details are down here and click this blue download button. Don't click a download button here. That's an ad. It'll be some sort of adware or something like that. Now we've got the installer, we open the file, and then you want normal installation. I would just recommend that. If you don't know what you're doing, then just use the default. Click along through the installer as normal, install, and then run PCSX2. Cool. Okay, so now is the tricky part. Now is what I think a lot of people struggle with. And it's also a gray area and something that really stopped me telling you how to install this. So, first time configuration, this is important. System default language, blah, blah, blah. Click next. All this, you probably have no idea what's going on. Just leave it as default right now. We'll worry about this later. You probably don't need to change anything. Click next. So this is the problem right here. Select a BIOS ROM. You need to select a BIOS ROM. However, you need to get the BIOS yourself. Please use a search engine. Try to find one yourself. Be careful when searching. Don't download something stupid. The thing is, it is literally not legal for me to provide these files to you, so I cannot do this. I cannot tell you how to install PCSX2 from start to finish because it is not legal for me to give you BIOS, because that is literally breaking like a user and agreement violation, among other things. You will need to acquire them somewhere else from someone you know who has one, or please just use Google, okay? I cannot provide you a link with these, so I am not going to. Please use a search engine to get BIOS files. In saying that, once you acquire them, which I have right here, I have these stored, you will need to put them where this says. You can always redirect this path, but like uncheck use default setting. But I'm going to open an Explorer, and then in this BIOS you need to basically put whatever BIOS you have extracted into here. I'm just going to copy them, so I still have them on the desktop just in case. I have to do this video all over again. And then now you've put all your BIOS in that BIOS folder, wherever this directory says. You refresh the list, or it automatically refreshed. And then you can select whatever one. I am going to select the USA one because I'm running a USA game. I don't even know how much this matters. But this is what blocks everyone from being able to use a PCSX2. And the truth is, I cannot give you BIOS files to complete this step. It is not legal. So you have to acquire them some other form. So select a BIOS, then you should be good to go. Here we go. So we've got the emulator. Now, while we're here, you can set up a controller if you have one, all this, all that, and the other. The cool thing though, now that we're here, now that we have the emulator installed, I am going to run through basically what steps I would take after you've already got the BIOS and everything. If you skip the BIOS step, when you try to run, it would give you a BIOS error. So, let's go into config. Video, this is the main important one, plugin settings. This is the first thing that I do, change from OpenGL hardware to Direct3D 11 hardware, and click OK. There are more settings here. I will try to, if I remember, maybe I'll forget, and I forget which settings that I use, I will include any noteworthy settings or troubleshooting issues in the description of this video to follow up on that. But use DirectX 11 hardware, that should give you the best results, and you get less errors out of that. Now also, you go to config, and actually I need to tell you this because you're probably going to ask eventually. Remove the second memory card. Just do that. Just do it, because when you go to custom dual, you will get Deckmaster S if you don't remove the second slot memory card. It automatically puts one in there. I don't know why. I wish it didn't, because I have to tell everyone how to dual Deckmaster K. But when you remove the second memory card port, or just remove that memory card from the second slot in the emulator and click apply and OK, then you will dual Deckmaster K like normally. Whereas if you want to dual Deckmaster S, you put it back in. All this is in the README. Please go to the custom dual section in the README if you want to know more information about that. I'm just quickly telling you how to do this, because you're probably going to want to know if I don't tell you now. Apply and OK. And then controllers, because you obviously want to be able to play the game, right? So plugin settings and pad 1. So this will be player 1. So you can do whatever the hell you want here. If you have a controller plugged in, which I don't have a controller set up on this, you can just put your inputs in there. I use, on my desktop, I use just a PlayStation 4 controller with DS4 windows. You can use a PS3 controller with DS3 windows. You can buy a controller, you can just use an Xbox controller and it will work on Windows. I am just going to use the keyboard, because this is one of the few games you don't need analog sticks to play at all. So realistically, you can just bind all of this to keys on your keyboard and play via your keyboard, and it shouldn't be a problem. So I'm going to run through just D-pad. I'm going to make the arrow keys. Face buttons, I am just going to assign to Z, X, C, and V in whatever order. It doesn't really matter. You can always optimize this stuff if you want. Start, enter, select, shift. Again, none of this matters what you do, just do whatever the hell you want. I'm just showing you, for example, L1, A, L2, S, R1, D, R2, F. And then you also want to bind left analog stick and right analog stick. Left analog stick, L3 is how you reincarnate. So I'm going to bind that to Q, and then right analog stick, going to bind that to W. You never know when they're going to be useful. And that's all you should need. So I'm going to click apply, and then hit OK. And now, should be good to go. So system, boot ISO, it hasn't selected one yet, so you're going to need to choose one. So we're going to choose the ISO we've patched, DotR Redux. So let's load that. Remember, this is the ISO that we applied the patch in the README file that you downloaded in the video, DotR Redux. So we open this up, And here we go. So we're now emulating Duels of the Roses Redux mod. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting? If you have the new starter decks, then you can verify the game is good. If you don't know what, you can enter your own name, but I actually recommend entering an A. If you don't even know what the base starter decks are, I am going to make the assumption that you're not very experienced with the game. You probably want a good starter deck, or else if you land on a bad starter deck, you are really going to be punished because the game is supposed to be very challenging. So you can see here I'm just on my laptop, I'm just playing Duels of the Roses Redux. There we go! So you can see the new starter decks. If you see Kaminari Attack, Water Dragon Fairy, and Monster Eye, you know that you're playing the new patched game. So if you see Kaminari Attack, or Water Dragon Fairy, or Weather, what else is good? Ray and Temperature, and Winged Dragon Garden Fortress, that's a good one. If you see any of those starter decks, I recommend picking one of those. If you want more of a challenge, you don't have to, but if you're not a very experienced player of the game enough to know all the starter decks, I'd recommend picking one of these. You're pretty much guaranteed to get one of these decks, surely. So I'm going to pick the Kaminari Attack starter deck. So now that you're in, I'm going to hit enter or start, save the game. If you just started, you'll have to format a memory card. So do that. It's formatted, and then it will save. Saving actually takes a little bit longer if you don't have a save to overwrite, but because it's a computer, it's quite fast. So save completed, and then also, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to disable battles. And then I'm just going to quick save now so that we can go back and I can show you. And then you can just load, just go into the duel. Just like that. And then you'll see when the map loads, it is different. It's completely different. So Taya is like you've never seen before. You're using a different starter deck. And yeah, you can play with the keyboard. What's a good fusion here, huh? Spellcaster, Thunder, Spellcaster. That'll give us Kaminari Attack. I'm not actually going to play the whole game, I'm just kind of demonstrating to you that this works. And you can see this is why you pick Kaminari Attack, because you've got 2400 attack on the mountain. And then you skip, and then the enemy will play just like normal. So this is Taya now, and then yeah, you get the idea, right? You get the idea. Cool, so you've done this part. You've got it set up, the emulator is set up, and you can now play Duels of the Roses Redux mod on your computer with an emulator. Alright, so now we get to the part where I tell you how to play on a PS2. But the thing is, to be totally transparent, I did this in a way that you might not want to. There's two ways to go about this. One of them, if you have a DVD drive, which I technically do, but I don't have DVDs, you can, basically what we're using is a thing called Free McBoot. It's this exploit discovered, I think, just last year. And I'm going to link a tutorial in the description of how to do that. This is something that Thotsical, he followed this, and that's how he played it himself. He verified it, and remember, he was the person who, alongside me, wrote the readme on how to install this mod and everything. Basically, if he does it, it definitely works. If he can follow the instructions in the way that's as direct as the video says it, then I'm sure you can as well. So you will need a DVD drive and DVDs to do that. I think you need 2 DVDs, one to set it up, and then the other one to burn Redux mod onto. Again, follow that tutorial for way more information on it. Failing that, however, and this is what I did because I didn't have any DVDs laying around, I bought a preloaded Free McBoot. You can see Free McBoot. You can go to e-commerce sites such as AliExpress, which is where I got mine. I'm pretty sure you could probably also get these from Amazon, eBay, maybe. I don't actually know. I'm being fully transparent here with why I did this method on the DVD one, by the way. It would have cost me like $10 minimum to buy a pack of 10 DVDs. I couldn't just buy 2 DVDs or a pack of 5 even. Because I don't have any spare DVDs lying around, I would have had to buy a whole pack of DVDs just to do this, to a point where it was actually cheaper and just more convenient for me to just buy one of these. So it's up to you if you want to use your disk drive. If you have any spare DVDs laying around, do that. You can do it right now. This took weeks to arrive. I ordered this more than a month ago, and it only just arrived a few days ago. But the main thing here is you want to have a memory card with free McBoot loaded onto it. Whether you do that through the DVD method, which is the link in the description, or whether you do it by just buying a preloaded free McBoot memory card. Okay, so on the screen now, I have... Oh, this is my desktop, by the way. This is where my patched Redux ISO is. And then this right here is my thumb drive, my USB stick, USB disk, whatever you want to call it, right? It's an 8 gig one. So you open this, it's completely empty, right? This is a mandatory step. I'm not just doing this for the sake of it. You literally have to do this. You need to make a folder and name it DVD in capital letters. You have to do this, okay? If you don't do it, then your game won't show up, because the free McBoot and Open Loader will actually read this specific folder. When you if you don't have anything and you plug it in, it'll create all these folders for you. And then, so if you haven't done that, say if you've already tried to drag your ISO on and that doesn't work, it's just sitting there and it won't read an Open Loader, this is why. You need to make a folder on the root of your USB disk with the name DVD, and then you put Redux in that. So we are going to right click our patched ISO, make sure it's the right one, okay? Make sure it's the one you patched. You can also test that by opening that one in the emulator, copy, and then paste it into this DVD folder in the drive. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal to show you this, but if you don't make the DVD folder in the root of your thumb drive, then when you try to do this on your PS2, it will never load. Okay, so at this point you followed the tutorial, that guy's tutorial on how to do free McBoot on a memory card, or you have a preloaded one, doesn't matter either way. So these are the only things you need: preloaded, free McBoot, and then USB with DVD folder, and then the game in that DVD folder. Alright, so at this point all you actually need to do is plug the preloaded memory card in, of course, and then you just plug the USB in. If you were using a DVD, you would just have to put the DVD in, but I'm not. So yeah, you just have free McBoot in, DVD drive in, or your DVD, and then you just turn it on. Pretty cool, huh? There you go, so you get that menu, but this is free McBoot, so once you have free McBoot on your memory card, this will come up, and then go down to OPN PS2 LD. This is Open PS2 Loader. Hit X on that. And then you'll see all the ISOs in your DVD folder in the root of your drive. Remember, that's very important. And then you can just run it. So if this doesn't come up, it may not. Go to the menu, press start. This is actually quite important because it shouldn't be like this on default. So you go settings. You need to make sure that USB device start mode is auto, and then default menu is USB game, so that it actually loads from your USB. These are the only two settings I needed to change. So just press X on this to run it. This is your modded ISO, obviously. So if this doesn't run the modded game, it's because you didn't transfer the actual modded game. While this is loading, I have a chance to, I guess, talk about how cool it is that you can play Redux on this. So obviously this exploit is intended to play like ISOs. Oh yeah, this will happen as well. Don't be afraid. Hopefully it doesn't kill your TV. It doesn't kill mine. So I was worried when I saw that, but yeah, it's fine. It's pretty cool how, you know, this is an exploit designed to play, well, pirated games, but we're not pirates here. We're playing the official patch of, you know, Duels of the Roses, which is a game we own, right? We burn our own ISO of it. So anyways, that's just, we can skip this. And then, so I could do what I did on the laptop and you go new game. This is a weird visual glitch. You can see on the left and the right, the gems, there's no gems there. I don't actually know why. This is a glitch you get on the emulator sometimes, and no music on that instead. But this, I think, I'm pretty sure this is just 100% fine. If you get this on the emulator though, you want to reset your emulator. Anyways, I probably should have mentioned that before. I could go new game, skip through it all like the laptop, but I've already started a save file on this. You can also load your other save files. They are 100% compatible if you have US save files previously. You'll notice, because it's USB 1.1, which is like 40 times slower than USB 2.0. If you're playing off a USB, the loading times will be quite slow, but because Duels of the Roses is great, the loading times won't even be that long. Like, they're very long compared to itself, obviously, but compared to other games, it's still not really an issue. And because this game runs so well, you can actually just run it off the USB, no problem. There are a lot of games that have a lot of problems running off a USB, because if the game's constantly trying to load from the USB, it's a lot slower, it doesn't load properly. You'll find that the loading screens here are significantly longer. Even that, it's only like a few seconds, you know, loading into a duel. And then you'll also notice, so yeah, clearly you can see we're playing Redux mod. You also notice that this bit, it takes a while for it to load. So, I could sit down and play the game properly, but I do just want to demonstrate that it works, so hold on. Literally playing with my lips right now, using the D-pad with my lips. And then I press start so you can see the AI. It's just, everything's normal. That's the thing, once you've loaded the duel, once you've loaded anything in this game, the only thing that loads is the music. And I've observed no glitches in the music, so yeah, you can play Redux mod on your hardware now. You can clearly see at the bottom of the screen that I'm playing on my PS2. And I know USB is slower, but there is no disc spinning noise, which is cool. I always like playing games without any disc spinning noise, so that's always nice. So yeah, Redux is fully working. I am literally holding this mic that weighs more than I do, so I am going to put that down for a second. I want to demonstrate something else, okay? So I'm actually going to turn this off. I know, sad, right? And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get my HDMI cable from back here and then unravel it. I'm just going to quickly show you. This isn't really part of the tutorial or anything. You don't actually have to do this, but what I can do is plug my laptop through the HDMI port, the same one I showed you earlier on in the tutorial. If I can. Hold on. And then just plug it in the back of the TV, obviously. Alright, cool. Hold on. I gotta like sit on the floor for this. I don't technically have to, but it's really annoying. I'm literally like not sitting on the floor so that the mic picks up my voice instead of just the reverberation of my voice. So we'll go to HDMI 1 where I plugged in my laptop. And look at that. My laptop might crap itself here, but What we can do is I'm going to try to run the emulator so you can see it pop up on the screen. I really hope my laptop doesn't crap itself here because that would suck. In fact, I'm actually going to stop recording and then start again in case that happens. So let's just boot the ISO. I'm going to go full screen. So it will be letterbox, but that's fine. I'm going to load my save state so we can go straight into it. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So hopefully you can see. I don't actually know if you can see because the emulator is covering OBS. But yeah. There we go. I could have sat here and dueled, but I'm literally like on the floor on an angle, like looking at my laptop and the screen. But I did just want to demonstrate that if you do want to play this on a TV and you don't have a PS2, if you have a laptop with HDMI out, and then you also, or maybe you have a computer with HDMI out, you can move that into your living room or whatever. I know that's kind of annoying, but, you know, having a spare laptop has its perks. So, yeah, I did just want to demonstrate this in case you wanted to play this on a TV. And also, you can argue if hardware is better than the emulator because the emulator has some graphical glitches, but you can fix this. I have, hopefully I put that information in the description. If I haven't and you want that, then leave a comment asking for it and then I'll put it there. Anyways, pretty sure that's all there is to show. So, I know I didn't really soak in everything about this, but it's kind of weird because if you guys saw the video, I'll link it at the end of this because I've got to edit the ever-living crap out of this video. I'll put it at the end. This was the room where, hold on, let me get rid of this. This is the room where I first played this game on Christmas Day in 2003. And now, I'm sitting here playing, my dream version of the same game basically ever since I was, younger, and I wish I could have got all the cards and everything in the same living room 17 years later. So when I first did this the other day, I didn't have such a good setup and I didn't put as much effort into it, but I figured that, in a tutorial people kind of deserve that. So yeah, I tried to make the best possible install tutorial that I could have. And I soaked it all in then, so that's kind of why I haven't really done it here. But it brought a crazy smile to my face, I'm going to say that, when I was first playing the modded version. Like, this is basically my dream childhood game is a better version of this game in the way I mostly wanted it. In regards to ranking up faster, getting all the cards, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's kind of poetic, sitting here, setting this up, playing it on the PS2, and just, it's been a hell of a journey, let me just say that. Not just a tutorial, but, hold on. Did you grab this? Not just the tutorial, but just sitting here, sitting here, that's a bit better, maybe. Sitting here and just playing this, obviously seeing what you just saw, I had the PS2 set up, and unfortunately I don't really have anything set up, any couches or anything, to sit here and play this and enjoy it. But maybe one day I'll be able to chill here and I can see myself on the TV. That's kind of funny. Maybe one day I can play and record from console. I mean, I can play on the console now, but I have nowhere to really sit except the floor. So I don't know. Maybe tonight I might just sit on the floor like I did when I was 7 years old and have a playthrough. I don't know. Play until I get bored. I have no idea. It's just... What can I say? I mean, obviously people have clicked off the video already because they've installed the game, so I'm just using this chance to say how crazy this is to me. Even though I already had my moment when I first went through this, and yeah, I literally recorded a whole tutorial the other day, like a good half an hour to an hour of footage, and I scrapped it because I hadn't done screen recording or anything. I had my phone set up. Maybe I'll put that footage on the screen right now showing you that setup because it was terrible and it just wasn't very good. So what can I say? This is pretty damn cool. So not only can I bring my PlayStation 2 to a friend's and play this, I can bring my laptop to a friend's and play this. And it's pretty damn cool, I've got to say. So again, I'm going to take this opportunity to thank everyone involved in the mod. So I have to thank my good 3 friends, Thought's-a-Cool, Generic Mad Scientist, and Blair. And everyone who played the game, particularly everyone who enjoyed it. Because I did genuinely try to make the best decisions I could with the resources that we had. Blair made so many tools out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere like a guardian angel. Thought's-a-Cool was my right-hand man. He helped me make a lot of the decisions that I did. He also made quite a handful of decisions himself, and he also made one of the fundamental tools, which was the map editor tool, which was very, very fun to use. It was very, very cool. And obviously these tools that these two made were based off of the information that Generic Mad Scientist pulled from the game. He located basically the code for everything that was important. And then we were able to basically, together as a team effort, we were able to pull this out. I basically was the director of this and didn't really do anything else because I'm not very computer savvy, so it was really, really nice to have other people do all the technical stuff. So I got to do the easy stuff, like making the decisions, even if I took a really long time making them and played the game over and over again. I can't give them enough credit because I could not have done this without them. And another thing is, a big inspiration for like a good motivation to make this was because I wanted to make the game that fans deserved. I seriously did. I think I've been kind of vindicated. A lot of people have sent me messages, very nice, pleasant messages, telling me that they've really enjoyed the game. When I first released it, I was kind of worried it was too difficult or people wouldn't agree with my decisions, which is totally okay. I was actually expecting a bit more criticism. But ultimately, all the feedback that I got was very positive. People really appreciate the simple stuff, the decisions I think anyone could have made, like getting all the cards, making the ranking faster. And if there's any problem with the game, I think it starts a little bit too difficult. If you don't have one of the better decks, it's really difficult to win. But that's kind of the point. I wanted it to be a problem-solving game, but for example, the Mods Thrive deck, if you want to beat Tay with that, you basically need a top deck, Dark Witch, and use AI Manip. It's not very pleasant. If that was your first deck of playing this and you kind of wanted a casual experiences, I think it'll be a bit unfair on that player who did that. But luckily, most people picked like the Kaminari attack deck and stuff like that, which really means that people had a kind of free game. Not really free, but free enough. If you can beat Taya, then that's all I really care about, because you can just farm from Taya and do all that stuff. Kind of design the game that way. But I failed to design the game in a way where people would realistically be able to beat Taya with some of the weaker decks because of, the deck leader abilities and stuff. But anyways, this is all stuff that I plan on talking about in the month of March. I don't even know if everything's going to work out schedule-wise the way I want it to. But ultimately, I wanted to get to the Redux mod content, and I've been doing content on the base game for whatever reason, under the guise that has been relevant to the Redux mod, like the AI stuff, which, I don't know, it kind of is, kind of isn't. The ship's already sailed with that, so, yeah.
instead of me rambling for another 10 minutes about this game, I will just say, if you're still here, of course, thank you so much for watching, because I think most people who wanted the install tutorial just installed the game and clicked off. But, and anyone who's already installed the game probably didn't watch this video. So if you're watching this point, thank you so much. I do want to really do more Redux mod content, and you know, why it's still fresh on my mind, and talk about all the decisions that I made and why I made them, talk about the hidden card, find locations and the fusions, this and that and the other. All the relevant stuff, like, you know, making guides for, you know, how I made guides for the base game. I want to do that for Redux because it's my baby, kind of, you know. It honestly, I took a lot of time into it. I wanted to make basically, or try to make the best game that I could within a reasonable time frame. I think it's like at least 90% as good as I could have possibly made it with the tools we have just now. Anything more would have just been me playing the game over and over and over and over and over again to adjust like the ratio of a deck or slightly optimize and tweak some starter decks. I mean, but if at that rate, towards the end of things, I kind of acknowledge that you could always tweak. So even if I kept making these decisions, it started to get to a point where it was like every decision I made felt like it was risking taking away something. So with the exception of making a few of the weaker starter decks a bit stronger, which I already tried to do, like I gave Monster Eye like Dark Witch Fusion and Dome of the Angel of Silence with a Dark Energy, and also Queen Bird, which I know that doesn't really do much, but I think there's a Pyro on that deck, so you can actually make Mavelus. So that's something. I don't think you can... Anyways, I'm just totally rambling and trailing off here. So, thanks everyone for watching. Hope you liked the tutorial. On the end screen here, there should be the tutorial, the playlist of the Redux. So please subscribe to that. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and check out those videos because they're probably relevant to you if you first just installed this game. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that's going to be. Bye-bye.